We're about to go racing for the second time in the season for the European Le Mans Series, but there are a huge amount of unknowns here because of the rain, which has started to pour again. And remember that the lead car, number 43, driven by Kuba Śmiechowski, is just about one of the only LMP2s on treaded wet weather tyres. Everybody else is going to be tippy-toeing their way through. There's already a spin for the 22 United Autosports car, joined by another that spun too. And now the difficulty is trying to get back into the race as safely as you can with all the LMP3s and the GTs pouring their way through. Meanwhile, Duncan Cameron takes the lead in GT, and that's not a big surprise because he's on wet weather tyres as well, Graham Goodwin.
Standing water in a couple of places. We hadn't noticed a little earlier, but you're right, two cars went around. We'll soon say which they were. I think it's the EDEC Sport car. I think that might well be the 28 car that's gone around as well.
Bang on. 28, 22, both descending rapidly on the timing screen. That's Paul Lafargue in EDEC Sport, and it's Manuel Maldonado's United Autosports 22 car.
Meantime, fast starting Torsten Kratz is in amongst the LMP2 Pro-Ams and his number 12 Duqueine. There is a fair amount of spray now on the back straight. If this rain stays for much longer, I don't think they're going to be able to avoid coming in for wet weather tyres. Seeing LMP3 cars going by P2 cars on the straight here.
There's been so much to talk about. I don't think we mentioned during this particular broadcast that we've got the chicanes back for the first time in 8 years. They were last run in 2017, so now an extra overtaking opportunity and a significant reduce in pace halfway or two-thirds of the way down the Mistral straight. It's nip and tuck stuff to try and do an overtake in these current conditions. I reckon going through 5 and 6, GT cars were able to overtake an LMP2 car. They've got way more mechanical grip at this stage.
Well, Śmiechowski and Matt Kaiser are driving away at the moment, and my guess is Matt Kaiser might well be on wets as well. So Matthias Kaiser in the 25 car and Kuba driving away from the rest of the field. What do I mean by that? Śmiechowski at the moment 2 seconds ahead of Kaiser. Kaiser 6.5 seconds clear of Ollie Gray in the VDS Panis racing car.
So treaded tyres, they're able to clear the water because of those grooves within them. We've had a big incident now towards the end of the lap. This is in the final sector, and is that the Corsa car? So that was the overall winner in Barcelona.
There's another car off. It's the 8 car. It's a Team Virage car with heavy damage.
Started second in category with Jacek Zielonka at the wheel. So have the 83 and the 8 connected with one another. Talking about those treaded tyres that are able to clear this water, whereas if you imagine a slick, well, that offers huge amounts of grip in the dry, but it just ends up with you aquaplaning if you hit standing water. The incident had already happened by this point. But there are bits of the 8 nose all over the road. It was a spin for the 83 initially.
Oh, that was a huge hit. Huge hit for the 8 car.
So 83 Francois Perrodo in all manner of problems, and then Jacek Zielonka, who may well have been on.
There's been trouble for PJ Hyatt as well.
So Hyatt's delayed too from the pole in LMP2 Pro-Am with Gon's safety car, because of the amount of debris that is in that third sector.
Francois Perrodo into the pits. That was a big hit to the front of that car and significant damage, and carrying a fair amount of a Ligier on the front as well. Not yet seen. You have now got the Team Virage car of Jacek Zielonka in the pits, but let's hope both drivers are okay. That was a big hit.
It certainly was. Zielonka up at almost a 45-degree angle because of the rate of contact. And that car, amazingly, has made it back to the pit lane. I don't think it's going to go any further, though.
That's done. That is as done as a car can be. Very, very unfortunate. Very much the innocent party there. Still see the bollard jammed underneath the front end of that destroyed Ligier. That car is done.
The VDS car hadn't spotted at the time. Tried to get the throttle down, and it just did not work. So that VDS car has since struggled a little bit with Ollie Gray at the wheel, but he tried to go at the same momentum as the 43 and could not live with that performance from the wet weather tyre on the yellow nose 43. That turns in perfectly, gingerly stuffed behind, and first of all we're going to see 2 LMP2s spin, the 28 EDEC Sport car and the number 22 United Autosports for Paul Lafargue and Manuel Maldonado respectively. There's an indication of the instructions you get directly into your cockpit on that little screen. Green, green, green. But how hard do you push, particularly this far back in the field where the spray is starting to hamper visibility big time? and just turn in, try and straighten the car, turn in again, straighten it up. You're just going to be so tentative with the throttle mainly, but also with the steering input. And then the car went completely left there, which we missed at the time. So that was one heavily delayed. Now, this was at the point where the GTs were a lot faster than the LMP2s, who just couldn't make their downforce work, and are recovering Paul Ricard in the 28, Manuel Maldonado in the 22.
Confirmed, by the way, both APR cars started on wet weather tyres. So Quaitalen Tudis in the 20 car. I think the car you were seeing making up ground was the Algarve Pro Racing number 25 car, scything through.
Who left the track after turn 2 and went sharp left?
I think it was the 48, the 48 car. Oh, that was the 15.
No, it's Jamie
trouble.
Chadwick.
Yes,
fully locked up.
It was the EDEC Sport car. Yes,
which is number 18. Used to be 48, didn't it?
Yes, it did. That's my fault. So 48 is now VDS banners. This is a wet shot Matthias Kaiser, making a very rapid start indeed, carving through that field as they were all struggling for grip. He was reveling in that, and in fact looking for the puddle to keep the tyres cool. That's the spin from Francois Prodo, and absolutely nailed by the number 8 car. Ginetta also picking up a little bit of debris there as everybody scatters to try and avoid the carbon fibre debris field.
Some of it being bounced back onto the track through no fault of anyone in the kind of vicinity. You just have to aim for the bits where the debris is not. That was a combination of Francois trying to recover as quickly as possible. He was going then slightly in the wrong direction and collided with the 8, which was trying to go to the left and avoid that rejoining motion, and as a result the 8 is definitely out. Perhaps the 83 will be able to rejoin in the hands of Francois Perodo. We will have to wait and see.
Immediately look at this, they power away. By the time they've actually got to the line, I think there's about a second's gap. There is indeed 1.85 seconds with the first and third place cars as they get to the line, just from getting the power down for the final turn.
Crazy amounts of, well, difference in grip. As we get later on in this hour, hopefully we'll get to see the drone footage of the start of that race again, as now the number 9 car is sideways. But there was, at the very start of the race, somebody went totally sideways across the curbing at turn 1. And I'm not including the 2 LMP2s. It was back in LMP3, I think.
It was the RLR car.
Yeah, okay.
It was the 15 car,
right.
100%.
Okay, so it lost it at the start of the braking area, then across not a gravel track but a sort of dusty area, and came to rest in the middle of the racetrack. So we did see that at the time. The 9 car was up there fighting, but has now dropped a considerable amount of places in the hands of Jonas Reed in LMP2.
Let's make sure that he's got away from that incident. Hasn't cleared it yet, now does. So Jonas has made it through Sector 1.
Duncan Cameron continues to lead LMGT3 on his wet tyres.
Change in the lead for LMP3 here, Johnny. This is the M Racing car. Getting onto terms with the 12 and going by. Pretty sure both these cars are on wets as well.
2 more spins. One is the BWT Inter Europe All Competition car.
And the 35 from Ultimates.
So they were duking it out for which positions? 88 was in 4th place. 35 in just behind it for Lewis Stern. And presumably they got together.
They did.
Turn 13. And that rotates Tim Kresick, who was ahead by half a car length. Side by side now between the Mercedes and the Aston Martin as the rain continues to pound down. They're going to be swallowed up by the United Autosports car now on a recovery drive. This was one of the 2 spinners at turn 1 on the first lap.
That's the battle for second place at the moment between Martin Berry and Clément Mathieu, our pole sitter.
Now the battle for the lead, heading for senior corner. That would have been brave from Matthias Kaiser, who has got Kuba Śmiechowski right in front of him. And if anything, the APR car looking stronger in this phase. Bright sunshine, it looks like, at Beausset. The paint schemes on both those cars look glimmering. As now, here comes Kaiser. He's side by side with Śmiechowski to the outside line of Bandor corner. Garlaban is next, and that's a right-hander. So if Kaiser can stay there, there's contact, though. And he kept it amazingly just about in the right direction, and with it, gets the race lead. Yeah, so a flurry of pit stoppers, as now there's a spin for Andrew Gilbert's number 74 Kessel Racing Ferrari, and that is on the exit of the Mistral chicane, the Nord chicane. And got a lot of curb, and that's like ice as well. Catching the paint, that white line is all it takes when you're on slick tyres.
It's pouring down now. It's absolutely pouring down, and all of a sudden there's no choice.
No further concerns about the start of the race, as now the engine cover of number 48 is going to be briefly removed. So they don't want to take it too far away to limit the amount of time that this pit stop will take. Yeah,
rear clip off to allow that to be done. So there's some kind of issue for the 48 front-running car last time out. This is going to cramp their style if this race stays green.
Is that roll bar settings?
Oh, I don't know. Or, maybe.
Or some sort of
suspension.
Seems
to be further forward.
Okay. Some sort of suspension adjustment because of the weather.
Another replay here, which indicates we've got another incident, and that is Mike Wainwright's GR racing car.
And that is the prescribed route that you must take if you make a mistake into turns 3 or 4, dictated by the driver's briefing. So you've got to go to the left-hand side of the bollards and rejoin as safely as possible. So these are all the cars that have recently stopped to change tyres. Toledo's running 10th, Gilbert in 11th. Down the inside line is the 24 Nielsen racing car of Cembolok Bashi, but over the curbing at turn 2, the Ferrari S, Francesco Simonazzi for Duquesne.
Lets that place back as he must, taken off track, and very clearly so. Still looking through the one window we've got in this commentary booth, it is pouring with rain. We're sitting very close to where the chicane, the braking zone for the chicane, just outside. I can't believe that's anything other than tactical, and they are the tactical masters and mistresses Algarve Pro Racing.
Excellent driving there from the other Inter-Europol competition car to go around the outside of Mike Wainwright, then to the inside of the McLaren.
Michael Birch, yeah.
So who's in the 34 for the opening stint? LMP2.
Pedro Perino.
Superb. Dodging from one side of the track to the other. And yes, you know, you're talking about an LMP2 performance versus GT, but you've got to know where the grip is beneath you. This
race will settle down by about Tuesday from what's been a confusing start, but just to fill you in if you are joining us late, damp track with weather threatening, but at that stage not looking likely, but damp track then rained, and the cars that chose to start on wet weather rubber have absolutely nailed it. It's the orange and black cars, they at least stand out on a gloomy day.
So Mike Wainwright nibbling at the tail end, the rear bumper of Michael Birch's car, the United Autosports run McLaren, and better drive perhaps off the corner for Wainwright.
Scott Noble catching this
through.
pair. Yeah.
Back to this battle for 4th place in LMP2 Pro-Am. Sales in the Dayglow yellow and blue TDS car now might not be able to hold back Giorgio Roda. He's got a better exit out of the Ferrari S, and into Virage du L'Hotel, through goes Roda.
Yep. PJ Hyatt closing again after his moments at the chicane on the Mistral. So we're getting into all sorts of interesting battles underway.
And is that still about, what, over a minute's gap?
Minute and a half.
Minute and a half.
Trouble!
For that's the 23 car, isn't it? In United Autosport? No, the 23 is in McLaren.
21, I think.
21, yeah. Used to be the 23. I'm doing your trick now. And very sideways moment. Was that the inside of Senior? So losing it at Senior corner and then spinning to the inside of it before that car got to Bose. Another team cranking into life. This is the Iron Dames thinking now is the time to get Celia Martin off the slick tyres. Well, she's nearing the end of a fuel energy stint anyway.
Christian Reed is also on pit lane, and that I'm sure will be for wet weather tyres. This is the 22 and the 48 side by side.
And that was an overtake perhaps for the 48 car. Were they on? Yes, they are next to each other on the timing screen. Ollie Gray and his VDS Panis racing car getting ahead of the United of Manuel Maldonado.
Now the battle for 10th place. This is Jonas Reed trying to get into terms with Pedro Perino, and they're struggling for grip as well. Jonas Ried gets alongside, neatly done there, took advantage of the interior Paul Ricard just losing momentum through the chicane, and the German driver is through and away.
Again, it's tough to tell. The DKR Engineering number 3 has had a moment at Beausset, and there's only so much high-friction asphalt that can arrest that. The red stuff is grippier than the blue-striped asphalt, and car number 3 will be able to get back into the race. Georgios Kolovos for the Luxembourgish team, DKR.
And he's the next to last runner in either of the P2 classes. Before that moment, 24th overall. The only running P2 car behind him, in fact the only P2 car behind him, because the only car not running is the stricken number 18 Virage car, is some 10 laps down on the leader.
Toledo with a spin at senior, and that was in the middle of this pack that was for 4th, 5th and 6th places. He was pursuing Charlie Samani there in the Zebra liveried 51 Ferrari, and all on his own. He's had a rotation. Now the Corvette's trying to get in, and he almost took Christian Ried with him. So that was the Corvette trying to make a stop, and the 60 car didn't want to do it. However, because the two were overlapping, Christian Ried was kind of taken to the standing water as Custodio Toledo now gets going again in car number 50. So all manner of things happening in the GT field.
Still a lot of the bronze drivers. Trouble for the 37, and that's in the wall. So there's 37 car in the hands of Alex Malikin. The CLX Pure Racing car in LMP2 from 12th place is in the wall.
That's the exit of senior, so he's effectively lost it coming out of the rapid right-hander and then gone into the barrier.
You're now going to be on board with the 37.
Looped it, lost the rear and into the barrier on the right side.
Oh, it was quite a crunch.
Yeah. It's going to take the right front corner off. He just lost it as he was GT cars behind. In front of him, and he was just maybe lost a little bit of aero on the rear.
This is a big squirm there for Tony Wells. Nielsen racing car, so that's one to keep our eye on as the class leader in LMP2 Pro-Am. Clearly, inter-Europol competition are reasonably confident that Kuba Śmiechowski still doesn't need any fuel, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the pits the next time around. Others have managed to make a stop, but they were emergency stops under the safety car. The exception of Daniel Schneider, who did get in before that safety car period.
But must now stop again.
Oh, so it was in the safety car?
It was in the safety car period, I'm sure.
So
Dan must, I think, stop again its first available opportunity, which will be on the next lap. I'm pretty certain that's the case.
You generally can't follow the safety car into pit lane unless it's on its 4th or 5th lap, for instance. Those 3 had been completed, but we'd only had 2 laps of the safety car.
So we're 5 minutes into the second hour of an unusually rainy, not uniquely, but unusually rainy European Le Mans Series race here in the south of France at Paul Ricard. Śmiechowski has been passed by the VDS Panis car, and I think it's also going to see the 22 car through as well, but not quite there. Almost got the nose off the United Autosports car.
It's just treacherous conditions. Drivers are really hunting for the grip here, multiple different lines, and trying to figure out the squirming coming off of the chicane. They're trying to get the power down. And the spray as well is just something else to throw into the mix.
It's a mix here, by the way, of cars in the lead group and lapped cars desperate to get onto back onto the lead lap.
Maybe this is a slight change. They're looking gambling on it drying up, and this is maybe a slight difference in the nose between starting the wet and maybe it's going to go dry.
Ooh, don't get your hand away from there, Sunshine.
Yeah, I think there was miscommunication there.
Jamie Chadwick is in an arm wrestle here with Ryan Cullen. She was just going through turns 13 and 14 into Virage du Pont. Again, feeling the grip and that slight distraction of a car wanting to get to the pit lane just in front. But the run off the chicane, so crucial, heading up the hill into senior corner. Both of these cars still with a windscreen wiper flapping away at the maximum setting, as little as that does. And GT cars galore, because they've all been boxed back in again after the safety car. So the 51 Ferrari with a good run on the Racing Spirit of Le Mans Aston Martin.
This is the battle for 4th place at the moment, behind the Iron Lynx and TF Sports cars that are chasing Duncan Cameron. It's Racing Spirit Le Mans 59 Aston Martin, the 51 AF Corsa car, the 74 Kessel Racing car, Richard Mills AF Corsa's number 50, all involved in that group. Dane Cameron now brought the number 99 car, making his way and picking his way through that battling GT class, but finding it difficult.
Exactly, you know, you just got cars coming from left and right, and there is multiple lines that you can choose around here. And certain cars will operate at certain different parts of the racetrack. You're really hunting for the grip all the time, and that's one of the things as a P2 car coming through the field. You've got to really pick your points, as Duncan, as he's finding out here, just trying to get through. Dane is trying to pick his way, and then maybe just around the outside, and then switching back to the inside. And you're just trying to look after your car but not lose any time.
There's a 74 Kesel Racing Ferrari stopped just before turn 13, and it's been in the barrier as well. So has that tagged on the rear right, perhaps? Not going to go anywhere in a hurry.
He's trying to get the car moving again.
Andrew's so close to getting to finish his drive time there, and I was about to say that
one more
hour
lap.
and a half in, and as Andrew just got
it was the 48. It was the 48 car. Did he hit the barrier?
He did.
And he hit it quite hard as well.
He did. That's going to need some attention, and he's close to pit entry, so he'll be straight in.
It was the 48, I'm sure, the VDS Panis car involved in that incident.
Esteban Masson, so they've switched to, switched drivers now to their gold.
An hour and 28 minutes into this race, and the LMP3 leader makes its first pit stop.
This goes to show, doesn't it, these conditions, how far you can stretch the energy window, you know, and get yourself really deep into the race.
This is the battle for the lead in LMP2 Pro, and it's gone the way of Giorgio Roda. Actually, it's not Roda anymore, is it? It's Rennie Binder now aboard the car. Goes past Sergio Sette Camara in the Nielsen Racing 27 car.
The 30 didn't see him there. He was about to turn in, and Rennie Binder just threw it up the inside there. Unfortunately, the 30 just saw him at the last second out of the corner of his eye. But it's tricky conditions here, with all of this, with the rain lights on, with the spray, with other cars being around you, and also there's the side windows, or the pieces that you're used to be able to see out of in these conditions. They can get really fogged up, or just the mucky water gets on there, and it can't get cleaned off. And so, you know, your vision is very much tunnel vision. Talking to Andrew Gilbert, Andrew Gilbert's still in the car because he has to stay in the car, because he hasn't done his full drive time. So it's really tough on these guys.
9,
I think Andrew's one of the guys.
7,
I was talking to
6,
Fran
5,
Rueda just
4,
before I came down
3,
here, and he was saying that
2,
Andrew's not driven this
1,
car.
full course yellow, full course yellow. We will be intervening between pit exit and T1 from driver's
left. And I know
left.
that the P2 cars have also been spooking Andrew a little over this last weekend, and he was talking about that from Barcelona as well.
It's a big adjust, isn't it?
It is. It's
On
a
the
huge
start
adjustment
finish
in
straight
multi-class
up to
racing, particularly the
T1, all
P2 cars,
cars
and there's a
to the
lot
left.
of them, and you know how that they taking slightly different lines, and they're coming in very late into some of those moves that they're putting on you into certain corners, and it can feel like as a GT driver you're getting quite bombarded.
Castellet Toledo, we go back to green flag running in the 50 Richard Mille, of course, of Ferrari, and then Racing Spirit Le Mans 59 Aston Martin in the hands of Clément Mathieu. And we've got a number of drivers that are about to be getting out of these GT3 cars.
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be a lot of activity coming up here. Of course, I think we're just seeing them getting ready in the pit lane.
With thanks to Jeff Carter from the media office. You remember what I didn't? 21 car of, it's not still Daniel Schneider, is it? It's Ollie Jarvis.
He got turned around.
It's 22.
We lost the rear, or it might have had a bit of contact there. Did well to keep it out the wall. We're going to be on board here.
So that's Gregoire Sauce in the 22 car.
Just got in too deep there on the brakes coming into the chicane. Chose the right move going down the escape road, and now he's just got to make sure he doesn't take an advantage, so he's just short shifting before he gets back on the throttle. Gone to another set of wets there in the 50 car. They changed those.
Nick Yellowleach still behind that group of LMP2 Pro-Am cars, albeit now, of course, with pro drivers aboard.
Just see there the TDS car got run all the way out. He was trying to go around the outside of Scott Noble, who was coming in the pit lane, and maybe it's a bit of a late call, I don't know, but he got pushed. The TDS car got pushed all the way to the outside and gave back second place to the Nielsen car.
He'd only just grabbed that place, Clem Novalak, so he'll be looking for that back as soon as possible.
There's a bit of a lopsided look to the TDS car. That's because the decal, which serves as the visor on the top of the roof of that car, is peeling back slowly to reveal a bit more of the cockpit. Those two cars are going to run side by side past the 88, which has been repaired.
Yeah, the TDS just got better traction. You saw as he came off of the chicane there at turn 2, he could just drive off the corner better. And the Nielsen car's just straggling. You see with the way he turned in there, he just started to lose the rear. Maybe the pressures have gone up on the rear of the car there, and he's just struggling for rear grip, rear traction.
Well, current WC racer Yasser Shaheen.
So Nick Yellowly just getting through. Was that Nick Yellowly getting through?
Yeah,
there?
it was.
It is.
Yeah. Sergio Sete Camara.
So that's it. Is Nick now managing to make progress? He's going to be next target for him is Enzo Fittipaldi. I think Kimura-san's first runs in prototypes.
I believe he is, yes, and seemed to enjoy it. And, yeah, but he's had a very busy weekend. An enjoyable weekend, though.
There you go. Clem Novalak looks to the inside, looks to the outside, tries the dummy, does the outside line and goes through. Cracking run there from Clem Novalak. Sold him the dummy to the inside, pulled to the outside. It's the other way around, sorry. But makes the move beautifully there. But Billy Binder didn't enjoy that experience. He's having to go back immediately. And while this is all going on, I am watching and...
he's got to the inside and he's got him back. There's going to be contact here, and there was a little bit of contact there between the 29 and the 77. And these guys have just got to be cool. There's still 2 hours of racing here, and if they get too aggressive with one another and get in the side of one another, they could put their own cars in peril.
Just one previous iteration as we got trouble there for the Vector Sport car, the number 10 car, in the hands of Vlad Lomko, spinning out 9th place, rejoining the track. So Chris Reed one off, sharing a car with, oddly enough, Mathieu Vazivière here at Paul Ricard in the French GT Championship in 2014 with a one-off appearance. What happened here is this looking for grip, and there was none. Bit of a puff of brakes, running wide, and then attempt to rejoin, finding, I think, a little bit of standing water and lucky not to collect the other cars coming through turn 2. Yeah, trying to get the power in. So he's back underway. Ironlinks Proton lead the race from 7 seconds. Matteo Capietto from Danny Juncadella in the EDEX Sport number 18 car, who's just put in the fastest lap of the race in the first lap, under 2:06. So this track is beginning to dry. We're not quite at that tipping point yet, but it looks very much, if these the clouds are continuing to clear here with 1 hour and 42 minutes to go, we might get there. We might get there. Could we get to the stage where slicks could be required side by side between the number 77 car and the 43, Nick Yellowly and Rennie Binder? Yellowly up the inside, takes the position and moves up into 3rd place. And for the first time in quite a while, LMP2 rather than LMP2 Pro Am cars fill the top 3 positions.
Well, the amount of green that's on the screen, you've mentioned about the fastest laps that have been coming thick and fast. Gregoire Sauzet is now the quickest driver out there with a 2:01.4 in the 22 United Autosports car. Charlie Eastwood's quicker than anybody else in the GT category as well. And unsurprisingly, here come the slicks for at least the Iron Lynx Mercedes.
When was Gregoire Sauzet last on pit lane?
I can check that for you. Car number 22. So United Autosports, and is it getting light on fuel? Is that another reason why it has been going so fast? Well, according to this,
he's on slicks.
According to this, just 3 laps to go.
I think he's on slicks.
Well, that is the tipping point then, because he's now the quickest driver out there.
And he's just put in another, two purple sectors. Ferdy Habsburg has gone quicker in the first sector, and I wonder whether or not that's what happened with Ferdy Habsburg. Did they put him out in slicks early? I wonder if that's what they did, because we saw him struggling on his outlap at 2 different parts of the circuit. I think Ferdy may be on slicks.
Yeah. And maybe went just slightly too early, but said, well, it will get better, we promise.
And he too is in the 201s. I'm sure that's what's happened. So if we're right, we've got a gaggle of cars out on slick tyres at the moment in rapidly improving conditions. Esteban Masson, another man with purple sectors.
TDS just gone straight on at the chicane, so that car may be on very old wet weather tyres. Clement Novalak, he's been battling with René Binder, remember, for the LMP2 Pro-Am lead for a number of minutes.
Yeah, Sosi now with a 1:58, so he's carved another 3 seconds out of, well, 2 laps ago, the fastest lap was a 2:04. And 2 laps before that, it was a 2:06, so 8 seconds quicker than the fastest lap of this race was 4 laps ago. That's how quickly lap times are improving. So 44 seconds was the gap to the leader from 4th placed Ferdi Habsburg the last time I looked. It's now 38 seconds, and he's put in a 1:58.0 as both the leading cars and the LMP2 Crown behind him. The 27 Nielsen car and the 29 TDS car, currently 5th and 6th overall on pit lane. And I'm sure that's for slicks.
Yeah, so if you've pitted in the last 3, 4, 5 laps, those cars will be on slicks. Others that haven't had the chance to do that because they weren't in their fuel window can finally do so now. But the time that may have been lost in the intervening period, as now Lomco gets a good run down into the first corner on the number 25 car. So Lomco heading by Théo Pourchaire. So what sort of tyres is Pourchaire on there for? He's pitted not that long ago, unless he's... No, he wouldn't be doubling because the previous stint would have to have been wet. Did they keep the wet weather tyres on in that Algarve Pro car number 25?
Well, looks to me as if a 2:03, a mid 2:03 is a good time on a wet tyre, because that's broadly speaking what we're seeing from the cars ahead of Ferdi Habsburg. Ferdi, to give you an idea, took 6.5 seconds out of the leader's time on the last lap. That's the difference between a car running well on wet weather tyres and a car running well on slicks at the moment. And that gap that was 44 seconds 2 laps ago is now 34 seconds.
So a pit stop a moment or two ago for the 27 Nielsen car. They were changing over to medium tyres.
James Allen now aboard that car. Correction, by the way, on our timing screens. Don't think it was Roy Nissany. It's now Laurence Her in the number 3 car that gets 10 seconds added to the next pit stop and 1 penalty point. Nissany, meantime, is through to, what is that, 4th place for Duquesne on the current cycle. Here comes the 34 car. Baptiste Simonard. That's going to be a driver change for into Europol. Still battles galore up and down this field. Ferdi Habsburg has inherited the lead, and quite a big one. 36 seconds by dint of putting that car early onto the slick tyre. He took pain, I think, probably for 2-3 laps, and then has absolutely jetted forward. Also going super quick at the moment. It's another fastest lap of the race last time around, Esteban Masson. He's only down in 14th place, but the pace he's going at the moment, he's going to be catching cars and passing cars at will very soon.
New fastest lap for the GT category now in the hands of Lorcan Hannafin. So he's done that at the last time around, but it's improved again by Ricardo Pera in a different car. He's in the 86 GR Racing Ferrari. So the lap times continue to tumble, irrespective of what class you're in, and that's purely because we're going from a wet track to a dry track. In fact, I think by far the majority of the field all improved last time around by the look of the green times. Now to the first corner is the scrapping within LMP3. So the 17 car's just pitted, the race leader, and up the inside will go the 31 car, which is
unlapping himself.
Unlapping himself, okay, that now makes sense. So that's Marius Fossard getting back through. But it's the 11 car of Ian Aguilera doing battle with the 88 of Reece Gold, and they are 5th and 6th with that unlapped car, lapped car, about to be unlapped perhaps in between the two of them. That is a wheel running loose with a medium tyre compound on it, I can tell you.
Got brilliant grip there.
Superb. But that suggests again that's a car that's recently been into the pits to get the medium compound, and there is a car somewhere out on the racetrack with only 3 wheels on the wagon.
Does that count as track limits?
It does now, although they are self-policing because it's rattled down the concrete barrier. So what car's that come from? It's the APR car? No, it's the 9.
It's the 9 car that's led this race. Matteo Caroli, having just, I think, come out onto track, is back in with 3 wheels on the wagon. Oh dear.
So straight back in it will go, and that is one tyre they're not going to be able to use again either. So remember that the allocation is heavily restricted. Let's hope they've got a spare that they can easily pluck from the garage.
And that wheel will need to be removed. And that car is going into the garage, so it's damage to either bodywork or the hub of that car as a result of the wheel departing. That is utter disaster for the Iron Lynx Proton squad. And I'm absolutely certain we're going to have to see some form of intervention. Unless that wheel can be recovered, and I don't think it can from over that wall, we're going to get at least a yellow flag to cover recovery of it. My guess would be a full course yellow.
So just looking down to see whether that was the outlet for Cairoli. I'm pretty sure it was.
Because we've just seen something pop up as an unsafe release. In other words, car was not ready to go, therefore it shouldn't have been released.
Okay, so an unsafe release in that definition of the phrase,
yes,
rather than being put into the path of another car.
Correct. Yeah, that's yes.
Usually the same messaging, covering a multitude of sins. Lorenzo Fluxa takes over from Théo Pourchaire, so I do think that was a driver time concern for Pourchaire, wanting to get his hour in.
Oh, trouble for the 28.
And that's in the wall heavily for EDEX Sport.
That's job for Utet.
So he's collected the baton. Now I'm struggling from that tight angle to know precisely where that is. It is turn 6 or 7. No, it's coming out of 6 and just before the kink at 7.
That's an odd place to go off.
It is rather. Has he had contact, therefore, to put him there? So it's the short burst of throttle that you need between turn 5 and 6.
Safety car deployed. Safety car deployed.
It's a safety car that again will absolutely ruin the race for Nielsen Racing. There was another car involved. 34 LMP2 car. That's the green-nosed car from Inter-Europe competition.
Car 24, slow down. I need to put the safety car in front of you
as well. So they've gone side by side into and through that corner. And that's
car 24, please slow down. I need to put the safety car in front of you.
How much further can, therefore, the 34 car go, driven by Luca Giotto now? Had those cars recently pitted is the next question.
Let's watch again. This is the damage that we're looking at the side of the green car here. There's the damage you can see, bits falling off it. That car is going to have to pit, I'm sure of it.
So Van Aert in the 28 car going no further. Giotto should make it back to the garage, but how much damage is going to need to be repaired when they get there?
Safety car is out, has not yet picked up the leader. This is going to be gutting stuff for Nielsen Racing, who had a better part of a minute's lead here, Johnny.
That might have been an outlet for Giotto, and, well, possibly the 28 as well, depending on where they were on their pit stop cycle.
Again, this is the wheel being lost from the number 9 car there. Car then runs across the high deck surface, and there is the wheel. It doesn't cross the track, does it? I think it does, you know. No, it doesn't.
That's the camber of the road.
Great roll holding for these
terrific. And maybe a bit of the high friction asphalt as well, helping to contain that tyre incredibly.
Sorry, turn 6.
6, yeah. Exit of 6.
Looks like he's ready to go. They're just getting all the kit and caboodle out the way. So Rob feels he can get that car back, and he can, by the look of things, albeit not as the maker intended. EDEX Sports and Orica, both based on the Technopark here at Paul Ricard. It's taken one hell of a rattle.
It has, but I wonder whether it will be solved with just taking the nose off and replacing it with a new one. They're going to have to check the suspension and certainly the steering of that car. But with it being a sideways glance rather than a full ball contact into the wall, he may have got away with that.
Well, we saw the other car that had been involved. It looks to me like, yeah, both the headlights have been deranged by that. So it's a front clip.
Car 28.
Left corner destroyed.
Car 28.
That's going to lose
to
some
the
bits.
side. Let the cars pass.
Do about that, I'm afraid.
Car 28. Move to the side. Let the cars
very
pass.
Well
You're
behaved
losing
bit of bodywork, though, similar to the tyre
the
that Cairoli lost, as in it just jumped to the extremities of the circuit.
I'm not going to describe this as good luck for unlinked Proton, because it's not, but the fact that we're on a safety car, better news than it otherwise would be. They're losing less time, but still enough to effectively negate their run. This was a car that led the race for quite a period, so unlucky for the team in one regard. One might say careless from the team in another.
Still some yellow at turn 5 now.
That could be just to allow vehicles to get back to their holding positions.
Okay. But also the tyre wall didn't look in great shape, so maybe they're going to have to just sort that out, make sure that it is safe again, because if anybody else spears off in a similar place, you want the tyre wall to be as strong as possible. So it's Habsburg in the 24 car. In behind, in second place, is Vlad Lomko, but he's 3 cars further back, isn't he? So those 2 in between, the second and the third place cars on the road, are not currently on the lead lap. Vlad Lomko is the 47 car immediately behind him. Enzo Fittipaldi is in third, so he's also on the lead lap. This is the very slightly confusing nature of a restart. It'll all become very clear in a moment.
But remember, a couple of the cars immediately behind the leader are very quick cars that have just been either off strategy or delayed. They'll want to be back on that lead lap.
True.
So it's not just a matter of Ferdy Habsburg driving away. He's going to have his mirrors full of some very quick cars wanting to get by him and get back onto the lead lap.
And that actually might provide the opportunity that Vlad Lomko needs, but he's going to have to fend off the CLX car of Enzo Fittipaldi first, and this is a battle for second and third places. So it's the white, red and black car of Vlad Lomko, then the CLX car, then Roy Nissany in the black and green, which is currently fourth.
But also behind them, the mercurial Mathis Joubert in the silver, grey and orange car. We're on board now with young Mathis Joubert, driver of the day at Barcelona. He's looking to see what he can do to get in the mix here. He's only 4 seconds off the lead, albeit with cars ahead of him. But if ever there's a driver with his dander up and with his stock high, Mathis Joubert is the name on that door, and he's already tucked in behind Roy Nissany, a fellow LMP2 rookie this year. What can Joubert do about that? And what about Ben Viscal? Well, he's just a couple of seconds back leading Pro-Am, but he's 6th overall. Next car behind Joubert. Ferdy Habsburg has got away here, 2.8 seconds.
You said he was going to have his mirrors full of what is actually, it's the 25 car of Lorenzo Fluxa and Luca Giotto's Inter Europol competition car, but neither of them can live with Habsburg's pace. He has gone up the road as somebody else peels off into pit lane.
Like United Autosports car. In fact, Ferdy Habsburg's on pit lane.
Well, that might be the reason why he's so fast, because he's relatively light on fuel. Wow. So the Nielsen car is in, and that will leave Vlad Lomko as the race leader now in car number 10.
Vector Sport lead the race from CLX Motorsport, Duquesne team under EDEC Sport. Flurry of other cars join them. VDS Panis Racing's Esteban Masson, he's been on a flyer, he's on pit lane. So too is Gregoire Saucy for United Autosports. And the third place car in LMP3 from Ultimate, they too hit pit lane.
We had other pit stopping cars, as we mentioned at the time, and then kind of got overtaken by other things. Still with this RLR M Sport replay first of all, carrying some damage on the front left corner and then washing out into Beausset. Oh, and spewing some liquid actually down the left-hand side, I reckon. So has that been in the wall somewhere or collided with another car? It's car 15 in LMP3.
Where's that car in the order? Way down in the hands of Gideon Orion. He's coming to the end of the lap and somewhat delayed on this current lap. And all of a sudden, United Autosports into the podium positions, and Louis Delatraz's next effort is to get onto a podium position.
This is a headache that Adrian Clomenil really does not need, because he's got Wyatt Bricard all over the back of him. They are not on the same lap, however, but it might be wise from a Clomenil point of view to just allow the Ginetta through. He very nearly did, in fact, because they went either side of the Racing Spirit of Le Mans Aston Martin. 17th still ahead on the road of the number 4 car, and even if the Ford Ginetta got by, Clomenil would still be second. But that's why the gap from first to second has sort of stabilised, because Cloverdale's got his hands full trying to hold back Wyatt Bricard-Check, and I just wonder whether, you know, just go a little bit wide on the exit of one of the medium speed corners and allow Wyatt through, because it will be a distraction no more. But Clomanil doesn't want to lose any time on Canton Antonel in the M Racing 68. Bright pink car that is about 3 seconds or so further up the road.
LMP2 Pro-Am, 2 cars in the 151s, and they're the 2 cars at the moment in 5th and 6th places. So Louis Delatraz and Bent Viscal, separated by at the moment 9 seconds, are catching all of the cars ahead of them, including the 2 LMP2 class cars. Could be another extraordinary finish here, Johnny. It's shaping up beautifully with under 50 minutes to go. Do not go away.
If you're wondering about the situation in LMP3 for the 17 car and how many of the longer pit stops they've done, they have completed there too. This is the Matteo Cairoli number 9 car, which lost a wheel and tyre not too long ago. And yeah, this car has picked up even further damage. So where has this happened, and can he get it back to the garage? It's on the long back straight, the Mistral.
It's on the opposite corner.
So which tyre actually departed?
It was the front right.
So the front right, and this is now the front left, or the rear left. No, it is the front left. But is it as a result of going round with only 3 wheels connected, or is it entirely unrelated? Very difficult for us to see. And the number 9 car is going to be slow back to the garage.
So number 9 car making its way back slowly. And that looks like, well, it's effectively over for the number 9 car as a competitive proposition.
And speaking of which, being off track, way wide, coming out of the senior corner towards Beausset.
That was a very odd line.
Well, almost in the realms of having to pay to get back in there for the 51 Ferrari.
Who's that?
Conrad Lausen. Oh, yeah, because they put Regon into that car. Oh, he spun there.
And that was in a battle with GR Racing's Ricky Perez for the lead.
Hence why there was so much on the line, perhaps. And Conrad, no shortage of speed whatsoever. I'm sure he's enjoying this responsibility of finishing the race off as the silver. But grip just really at a premium. And now he's going to have to get his head down. Rejoin. Those tyres will be in a sorry state. Can he reel in? Well, Perez was on an in-lap, so it's now Lilou Wadou who becomes the new race leader in LMGT3 for Richard Mille of Corsa.
Well, with 42 minutes to go on pace, any one, I think, of the top 5 LMP2 Pro-Am cars can make this podium. LMP2, rather more extended gaps for them. Mathis Herbert, bear in mind there's the 10-second penalty for the Interpol car that sits in second at their final pit stop. Puts potentially second place in LMP2 in the hands of Nielsen Racing, with Felipe Albuquerque certainly in the realms of a podium position for them. Could Nielsen be on the podium in both classes? They've had a cracking run today. Made some good strategic calls when the weather got its worst. In comes the 29 car from the lead in LMP2 Pro-Am, also in the 27 Nielsen Racing car, which briefly takes the class lead just in terms of the way the pit stops happen. Interpol Competitions 43 is on pit lane, as is Louis Delatraz. It's a battle on pit lane now for the glory, the honour, the podium positions in LMP2 Pro-Am. You can see just exactly where Marino Sato cycles back to here.
The lead change has happened in LMP3. We were building that one up, but Adrien Clomanil has got ahead of Canton Antonel. pure pace, that really, and down to consistency from Chloe Manil, the qualification specialist. So CLX back on the trajectory to take another win.
Griffin Peoples brings in the WTM by Rinaldi Duquesne very slowly.
It's out of fuel. Can't see anything wrong with the car externally.
Oh, by the way, in the background comes the 34 car. And out come the battling P2 cars, 29 ahead of... Is that the 27 car? It is. James Allen. So the two Nielsen Racing cars currently sit 3rd and 4th overall.
It was a very long stint for Marius Fossart. 26 laps in total, I make it. But there was a fair bit of yellow in amongst that. Well, the safety car, the latest safety car, which have brought back a bit of fuel reliability.
This is Griffin Peoples in this car.
Okay. Yes, sorry, you're right. That's a little bit of an error on my part. Let me just refresh. But it could still be that the car is out of fuel. It's needed to be pushed the remaining distance. But how long was the Peoples stint?
In comes the leader. While you're looking for that, Matthias Gerbert with 70 seconds advantage over Philippe Albuquerque, who does need to stop once more. And this could be an Edic Sport stop to take the overall win. Round come the chasing pack. Philippe Albuquerque just a little way ahead. No, it is. He's at the lead of this group, in fact. So it is Nielsen Racing's Philippe Albuquerque ahead of the battle for the lead in LMP2 Pro-Am. Headed still by Matthias Besch. He's got his mirrors full of James Allen. Marino Sato has indeed cycled back round into 3rd. So the top 3 in LMP2 Pro-Am separated by 1 second. He's a feisty fella, is Matthias. LMP3 traffic this time up the inside from Louis Delatraz. He takes the place. Neatly done, cleanly done. Still has some traffic to deal with.
I think knowing how stubborn Besch can be, that was the time to do it. Now around the outside of the 31 LMP3.
And I think he's got that done. And Besch has now got his mirrors full of the F Corsa car of Mathieu Vazevier. This pair have got a lot of history. And that's the 83 car gradually making its way back after the long stop early on.
Very different line into Beausset, the latter bit of Beausset there by Spike, the Dragon, and Delatraz at the wheel. It's just that little bit more manoeuvrable now than the car ahead of Marino Sato. So taking plenty of curb, the Swiss, trying to just outfox his competitor in the United Autosports car. They're going to go to the high side of the Iron Dames Porsche. No way through there, but that's just Louis Delatraz testing the water, perhaps. If they'd been able to go a bit faster without that GT car there, that's the place to get overtaken, I would have thought.
Just a bit of an update on LMGT3 as we watch this battle, because it's a cracker. That is that all of a sudden, Fab Schiller is closing the gap on Lilo Wadu, but also for 3rd place, David Perel under immediate peril from Ricky Perra.
So closing the gap despite getting a bit roughed up into turn 5 by the 24 Nielsen car.
That explains why he's just had a slow sector time.
Philippe Albuquerque wanting to make use of the gap and dives down on the inside of Virage du Camp to lose his car as little time as possible. He's right with Richard de Guiras, 5th and 6th in LMP2, but down in 11th and 12th overall.
Yeah, this is the car, remember, that was 2nd for so long. Still looking, Marino Sato would be disappointed he couldn't get his way through there, and now he's under attack from Louis Delatraz. Can he go up the inside? He's got a good line out. I think this might be it. I think Delatraz has got him.
Far better drive off the corner, and to be fair to Marino Sato, he's given him plenty of racing room. He wants to use the toe to maybe repay the favour into Beausset, but the speed is just not there, and that's tyre life. I think I agree with you. So Sato just can't do it. Now 2 Ferraris absolutely together, and the GR Racing car is in front.
That's the change
of the 55. So this was the one we were building up to. However, is it quite finished yet? Because both cars well over to almost the concrete wall.
Well, this is aggressive stuff from both these drivers. 3 lights on the side of the 86. He's having to defend
So it's Perra up against David Pirel. And now this short, sharp straight towards turns 3, 4 and 5 into Hotel Corner. Camp is this much harder stop into turn 5. And then what's Perra's exit like out of 6 and 7? This was all set up then, coming through Virage Dulac, and there you go. That's the Delatraz overtake that I was expecting in the P2s, when it actually came from Ricardo Perra.
There was a gap, and he filled it beautifully. It was exactly Ferrari 296 GT3 shape, which was lucky.
Yeah. And Ricardo Perra not going to be asked twice there. Absolutely slammed the car up the inside. No contact though.
This is the replay of, it was Marino Sato bought a little by, tried to take the 66 car into the braking zone, didn't find the room, and that was all that Louis Delatraz needed. A race that started on a grey afternoon, rain then fell, and then fell harder. Tyre choice critical at the start, critical at that point. Now under bright sunshine here at Le Castellet. And into the final 5 minutes of the race, 1.7 seconds at the moment. It does look like Mathieu Chopin in clear air has got the quicker car. And the LMP2 leader behind does not look under immediate pressure. But it is going to be about this battle, and that might be enough with the LMP2 car getting involved. Where did Lilou Wadou lose that half second? Well, Fab Schiller will know, and that's where he'll apply the pressure.
Yeah. At the moment, though, she's still taking to the natural racing line. The race leader is into the final sector, in fact, rounding Beausset corner now, but we're quite rightly concentrating on the lead scrap within LMGT3. We'll keep you updated on that through the final sectors. But in this, the 70th race in the European Le Mans Series since it was rebranded in 2013 on a famous Star Wars day, may the 4th be with EDEX Sport, who take another victory in the LMP2 category, and this time it is an overall win.
A first ever overall win by a female driver in the European Le Mans Series, and it looks like we're going to get, depending on as home comes CLX Motorsport, for another win. So 2 wins in the LMS, 2 wins in the Michelin Le Mans Cup in 2 races of this current iteration. Could Lilou Wadou make it 2 female class winners in the same race in the European Le Mans Series? Boy, oh boy, are things changing. Here they come. There's another car involved in this battle. Fab Schiller will not give this one up lightly.
So she's having to maybe react to when that LMP2 car pulls off the corner. In the end, I don't think it affected things too much. There's going to be one more chance at this at Fabian Schiller round the outside, just as we saw Ricardo Perra try it. But you know he's not in the right position. So what's the draft light of the final corner? It's going to be a drag race between the mid-engine Ferrari, the front-engine Mercedes, but Lilou Wadou will make it another female runner on a podium, 1 on the overall for EDEX Sport, 1 in a class victory for LMGT3. There's Jamie Chadwick with a big smile on her face. She clenches her fist, and it's Lilou Wadou as part of the 50 lineup, joined by Custodio Toledo, who drove spectacularly well in his opening couple of stints. Ricardo Agostini, I can't remember mentioning him too much. He's the gold and theoretically the quickest, but it was all about who started and finished that number 50 car. They come home with victory.
And there's the overall classification. 107 laps completed eventually. Less than 2 seconds the gap between the 18 EDEX Sport, the 27 Nielsen Racing, our winner in LMP2 Pro Am. And after that, mixed bag of Pro Am and Pro cars down through the order that gifted out to us by those change of conditions and all sorts of shenanigans. It's a win for CLX Motorsport in LMP3. The number 17 car ahead of the M Racing Ligier 1, 2, 3, with Your International finishing 3rd, and that fantastic finish in LMGT3. Richard Mille AF Corsa's 50 car ahead of the Iron Lynx AMG number 63 and the 86 from GR Racing. Down towards the bottom, and there's a number of bad news stories for a number of crews. It was eventually 37 finishers from the 44 starters, with a variety of incidents, some of which you saw, some of which you did not. The late retirement of the Corvette, the last of the not classified cars there.